the modern mind, the modern self, which lives in all of us today, um, is is grappling with several different challenges that are quite huge. Uh, one of which is the consequence of the great development of a sense of the autonomous, separate human subject, the modern self, as being separate from the world, the human being as being separate from nature, and in some sense superior to it. There's a lot of reasons that went into this bifurcation between human and the natural world, between the interior life of a human being. We experience ourselves as being as seeking meaning, as seeking to fulfill our values. We're morally and spiritually aspiring. We're conscious, we're purposeful, and yet we have been taught, and the modern mind has created a paradigm, a worldview in which the universe itself is seen as unconscious, purposeless, lacking in any intrinsic meaning, and all of our spiritual and moral and psychological yearnings and aspirations are uh, uh, are taking place in a universe that is seen as being absolutely indifferent to this quest. And that sense of alienation, as it's usually called, is one huge um, dimension of the modern challenge. Another big one related to this is the fact that we're in an ecological crisis, which has also been is also a consequence of a kind of objectification of the world that the modern mind produced, where we are subjects as human beings living in a world of objects, as compared with, for example, something like what an indigenous tribal culture, or someone like Thomas Berry or Brian Swim, Teilhard de Chardin would teach that the universe is not a collection of objects. It is a communion of subjects, and we're one of those subjects. So, dealing with the consequences of modern objectification of the world is another big challenge. There's a third big challenge, and that is we're now much more aware than ever before of the fact that there are other cultural traditions, perspectives on the world that have existed over the millennia, but also that exist now outside of the North Atlantic civilization's paradigm, uh, that that have great value, that have great worth, that we need to learn from, and and yet that seems to also relativize. Well, if what we thought was totally true is is it may not be absolutely true, then how can we know what is true, and what kind of foundations can we have for a sense of security with our knowledge? So that sense of kind of metaphysical uncertainty is another big challenge that we're facing, and that we'll address and offer some uh, uh, possible, on actually with all these challenges. We'll look at some of the developments that are happening today that I believe offer ways of hope that could be quite fruitful for us in the future. So that's uh, those are some of the major challenges that we're facing, most of which I think are probably familiar to all of us without my even saying so.